Welcome to the Sports Bros Podcast, featuring the Almighty B-Live, the Money Man, Scottie D, and your host, the head of creative, Eddie Cool. And without any further ado, here they are, the Sports Bros. What's going on, world? This be your boy, Eddie Cool, a.k.a. the HOC, and this is another episode of the Sports Bros Podcast. Episode 33. That's right, 33 of them things recorded for you to enjoy for your listening pleasure. Sports, and we talking about more sports. And as always, I got with me right now the Money Man, Scottie D.
What's up, my brother? And to all our listeners, beware. This is the Halloween edition.
Ooh, cute spooky noises and thunder crashing and everything.
Spooky sound effects coming your way right now.
Ooh. Things are spooky. The Almighty B-Live will be joining us shortly. B-Live probably had a long, tiring night at work. For those of you that don't know, we do have 9-to-5s outside of this here podcast because we get those things in the mail, call bills, and guess what? They got to get paid. They have to get paid. All right, moving right along into it. We got the World Series recap. That's right. The Houston Astros come back to take a commanding 3-2 lead against the Washington Nationals. Scottie D, what happened? Because if I'm not mistaken, in this series, the road team has won 2 games. And the home team, well, they haven't won it all.
The road team has been the winner of every game through 5 games. Amazing. If you remember what I said last week, I said I thought that the Nationals were going to get off to a slow start because they sat and didn't play for a week. Mm-hmm. Well, I was wrong about that. The Nationals got off to an incredible start. I mean, you couldn't have dreamt up a better scenario than to go into Houston, knock out Garrett Cole and Justin Verlander in the first 2 games, and come home and have the table set to maybe not even go back to Houston to sweep or win in 5 games. And what happens? What happened was they didn't get a W at home. The Astros pitching came to the forefront. The Nationals bats went cold. They're out there singing the Shark song, and nothing to cheer about for the Nats fans.
I saw that.
Man, I didn't. I'm not surprised that the Astros won 3 in a row. I actually have had that conversation with several people that after the second game, I said if anybody can win 4 in a row, or at least get it back to Houston and make it a series, it's this Astros team, because all year long they were the best team in baseball. So I can't imagine how many times they won 4 games in a row over the course of the season. So it's not that I'm surprised, but I didn't really predict that. I didn't see that coming, because it's not like the Nationals are scrubs. This is a team that also has very formidable pitching, but the Astros, they already have the World Series experience, and they didn't panic. They went into Washington, and the bats came alive. It was really big for them to start having Bregman hit the ball again, because he was ice cold up until they went back to Washington. And then when he decided to start lighting up, when his bat came alive, boy, there's just too much firepower in that Astros lineup to stop. And it's not over as of this recording. Anyway, as of this recording, it's not over. They're going back to Houston, and Steven Strasburg's got the call in Game 6 for the Nationals, so they still like their chances. But it just feels like the Astros have stolen it away from them, and I think they're gonna win in 6, like I said last week.
Scottie D, you hear that? I want you to listen carefully. You know what that is?
What is that?
That's the sound of the Astros clicking at the right time.
Clicking on all cylinders, man.
Yep. And as you mentioned earlier, they have that. This is not their first, trip to the World Series. They have that playoff experience, and so as you said, the experience does play a role. Being down 2-0 and then having to win, 3 games on the road, and then to go back home in a position to win the entire thing.
Yeah, and just all the guys that everybody when they got to Washington, everybody started hitting on that team. Everybody. And whenever I've seen in the past teams that don't produce that you expect to produce in the World Series, a lot of times the stars get shut down. Well, Altuve, Bregman, Carlos Correa, and Springer are all bringing it, and the Astros they're just too much. They're just too much to stop.
Yeah, they are too much to stop, man. And the Nationals, they should have went ahead and took care of business while they should have. But hey, man, that's why you play the game, to fight another day. Game 6 will be today because this podcast drops on Tuesday. Game 6 will be today on Fox, and of course, the home team is favored to win Game 6. I said Houston in 7. Scottie D, what did you say?
I said Houston in 6, and I feel pretty good about it, except for the fact that, again, Washington's sending out Strasburg, and this is hard to believe, but Justin Verlander, who's scheduled to start Game 6, has never won a World Series game. And
Wow.
if in this postseason, if you've noticed, the trend for him is to be kind of gettable in the first inning, and then he's settled in and given them a lot of innings. At this point, getting innings doesn't seem to matter. It's all hands on deck because you only got 2 games left in the year, no matter what, at the most. But if Verlander can get the ship righted in the first inning, and say he goes 6 or 7, then I think it's curtains for the Nationals.
In the words of my man Dax McCall, it might be all over but the crying. All right, and moving right along, we got college football week 9. Can you believe, Scottie D, it's already 9 weeks into the college football season? 9! Where'd it go? What the hell happened?
It felt like forever for it to get here, and now it's like 9 weeks went by like it's absolutely nothing.
I say, it's cliche as hell, but in the blink of an eye, time has flown. All right, looking at some of the games this past weekend, we had LSU defeat Auburn 23-20. Ohio State just give Wisconsin the business at home at the Horseshoe in Ohio State, 38-7. Alabama, they handles Arkansas 48-7. Clemson, be like, where you at? Clemson defeats Boston College 59-7. And upset alert, woo. Oklahoma loses to Kansas State. So they might as well go ahead and forget about any kind of national championship hopes. All right, we got some of the top 10 teams. They won, and they had to handle business at home, except for Oklahoma, who's hurt their playoff chances. And as far as this landscape for the college football playoffs starting to shape up, Scottie D, who you think is going to get in? I know it's a little early, but who you think going to make that first cut?
Well, Oklahoma losing this past weekend makes things a lot more interesting. And the way that the rankings are sliding guys around, if I'm not mistaken, Clemson was number 1 to start the season, right?
Correct.
They're now number 4 and haven't lost. So that's that's crazy. In 2 weeks, LSU is playing Alabama. That's 1 versus 2. I can't imagine a regular season game ever being bigger than that. That's going to be outstanding. So one of those teams obviously is going to slide back down. Ohio State just always seems to be there. They got, I think they still got Michigan and Penn State coming up. They still got to play Penn State, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And Penn State's sitting at the number 5 spot. So there's still a long way to go here in college football. But, man, I can't tell you how impressed I have been with LSU. Holding on against Auburn this past week, they just didn't let Auburn get anything going. And they had the big win against Texas earlier in the year, and Texas is no scrubs. I can't pick a top 4 right now just because there's still so much to be decided. But boy, I tell you, if that game was at LSU instead of Alabama, I would pencil LSU in. But of all years, they have to go visit Alabama on the 9th of November. And man, I can't wait to get to that game. Honestly, I can't wait to see that game. Clemson, they just are getting punished because the ACC is weak this year, and all apologies to Be Live. I know he likes to tell me that the SEC is top heavy. Well, you can't be more top heavy to me than having one good team and then all bad teams. So the
Yeah.
ACC to me is very, it's just not very good this year, and Clemson's getting punished because of that. But I don't know, man. I think a lot is gonna. Obviously, a lot's going to come down on this LSU Bama game in 2 weeks. So, I hate to skip ahead and miss what's coming this upcoming Saturday, which but honestly I don't know because I'm kind of excited for that game.
Yeah, I'm looking at Ohio State schedule, and the last big threat would be the game where they play at home against Penn State. They're both 8-0. Currently, Ohio State sets as number 3. Penn State number 5, and that could really shake things, really change the whole landscape of the upcoming college football playoffs. So I'm kind of like you, Scottie. I really can't, put a thumb or put a finger on a top 4 because anything can happen within the next, 2 to 3 weeks can change everything. And don't forget, you also have, a one-loss Florida and a one-loss Oregon hanging around at number 6 and number 7,
and Georgia, I believe, only has one loss. They have to. They still have to climb that ladder because the SEC is so stacked right now. But I tell you, I found something a little bit interesting this past week, and that was that Michigan finally kind of got off the schneid against good teams, and knocked off Notre Dame on Saturday night. That rainy mess of a game. I didn't see much of that game because I was watching the World Series, to be honest with you, but. Maybe that's what Michigan needed to kind of get their confidence set when it comes to playing these big teams. Because Harbaugh I think that was only his second win against a top 10 ranked team out of 11, 12 tries. Don't quote me on that. I'm just kind of throwing a rough number out there, but I thought I saw a statistic, something close to that. But Ohio State has to go at Michigan in the final week, and I'm telling you, I just don't think that game's going to be a cakewalk for the Buckeyes. I think Michigan's going to give them a fight in that game. So that there could be a lot of importance still left on that contest, and that's not until the end of November. So we still have ways to go before that. But as you're saying, though, Ohio State's schedule doesn't really look that tough. They got Maryland, Rutgers, and then Penn State's at home before they get to Michigan. So I kind of think Ohio State, if I was to guess, I think they'll end up in the top 4 this year.
Yeah, they probably will because you got that Maryland game and that Rutgers game. I mean, hopefully these 2 games are not trap games. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just don't think that exists for Ohio State. But, but their 2 toughest games of the year come at the very end. Penn State, that one's at home, and Michigan on the road. And it's going to come down to that too. If Ohio State wins those 2, obviously they're home free. They're in the top 4, but we'll see. We got still a long way to go in college football. And we just said the season's been going fast, but still a lot to be decided in this last month coming up. The month of November is going to be an exciting month in college football.
I'm telling you, if Michigan does not get the job done this year, Harbaugh, done, son.
Done. Could be on the hot seat.
Yeah, he could be on the hot seat. All right, and that is it for the college football week 9 recap. Moving right along in this episode, we have come to the pros, the professionals, the week 8 NFL recap. Scottie D, week 8 was pretty good, man. Week 8 had a lot of good games going on, man, especially that Thursday night game.
Whoa. Time out here, Eddie Cole.
What?
Time out. I have to interrupt this program for some breaking news that has just come across my desk. But the Pittsburgh Pirates have fired their general manager, Neil Huntington. This is just coming in. We're recording this on Monday morning. They fired Clint Hurdle on September 29th, which I would, as you know, I'd been begging for. And then they fired the president last week, Frank Coonley, who everybody thought he had to go. I kept thinking maybe with the new president coming in, they may end up letting Neil Huntington, the general manager, go. He's the one that orchestrated some of these brilliant deals that sent Garrett Cole out of Pittsburgh, and
who you still want to punch in the face?
Andrew McCutcheon. Oh man, sorry about that. I was kind of hoping that I was going to get this news at some point, but I wasn't expecting to get it right here in the middle of the Sports Bros podcast. So there you go. The Pittsburgh Pirates. Um, if you're a newer listener, that's my favorite baseball team, and I've been miserable watching that team. And so I'm happy for that shakeup. See that's going down in Pittsburgh right now, and I honestly think the next manager might be coming from Houston, and that's why they haven't named the manager yet. I
You
think
think so?
yeah, I think
Oh.
one of the coaches from the Astros is well, it's hard to tell. New general manager, new president. I don't know, but I think that there's a possibility that one of the Houston assistant coaches is going to be in Pittsburgh. So we'll see. Anyway, all right, back to our regularly scheduled program. Let's
Well,
talk some NFL here.
well, Scotty D, from the looks of it, Christmas came early
It
for
did,
you.
yes.
It came real early for you. All
Yeah.
right, hopefully the Pirates can right the ship, man, because as you know, man, me and B Live as your co-host and friends, we were rooting for your Pirates to do good, and then the bottom fell out. And so hopefully we can keep the bottom intact moving forward. Because
Right.
your team needs some good, need something good coming along their way.
We need an organizational makeover, and it looks like
Yeah.
we're in the process of getting that. So
Yeah, you get tired of being bad forever, man. Things have to change. Yeah, things have to change.
Let's go Bucks.
All right, so here we go. Diving into the NFL Week 8 recap. Scotty D, we are midway through the season. Can you believe that? Midway through the season.
Yeah, man, that's hard to believe.
Yeah, man. We're midway through the season. And of course, the season kicked off Thursday night with the Vikings and the Redskins. The Vikings defeat the Redskins 19-9. Hey, man, people aren't talking about the Vikings like they should, but after watching them, they might be. And they did this without Adam Thielen. But I hear people now, it's against the Redskins. Hey, look, man, those Vikings will start to click as well, too. The Pats defeat the Browns. New news.
That wasn't a shocker, I'd say, huh?
No, 27-13. The Seahawks defeat the Falcons 27-20. Drew Brees returns in the game against the Saints as the Saints defeat the Cardinals 31-9, and they threw 3 touchdowns? Yep, Brees is back.
Brees is back.
Yep. Over on the West Coast, the San Francisco 49ers thump the Carolina Panthers 51-13. Ouch. And the Texans defeat the Raiders, and at what cost? Where J.J. Watt tears his pectoral muscle, and he is out for the remainder of the season. And in the Sunday night game, the Packers defeat the Chiefs 31-24 in Arrowhead. Wow, man, the Chiefs are really starting to look vulnerable at home. Scottie D with the Saints coming back. Scottie D with Drew Brees coming back at the helm as quarterback for the Saints, man. Would you consider them a serious contender for the NFC crown?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think they've got to be the favorite right now. To win all those games without Brees just shows that they're very balanced. Their defense has been very good. Their offense was clicking without Drew Brees, and he can do the spectacular. So yeah, the only thing is the Packers look very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I'll tell you what. If you look at the NFC overall, the Vikings and Packers both seem formidable to me. Mm-hmm. The Seahawks, 49ers, and Rams in that division both are all, contenders. The Saints, Cowboys, and Eagles are both playoff possibilities. They, to me, both of those teams look far from the Super Bowl, but the Eagles got better this weekend with a big road win over the Bills. Having said that, that's 1, 2, there's 5, 6, 8 NFC teams I think are looking, to be contenders. Mm-hmm. In the AFC, I see the Patriots.
Yeah,
it's like nothing's changed. Just whenever you think the Chiefs get it going, they lose their quarterback and they look vulnerable. You think the Colts got it going, Andrew Luck retires. You think the Texans look good, their best defensive player goes down for the season. It's like one thing after another just keeps building back to the Patriots in the Super Bowl again. I just don't see them having much resistance in the AFC. And in the NFC, to me, it looks like a crapshoot. That's what I'm seeing halfway through the season. But I think it was Bill Parcells used to always say, you really know what you got when you see what your team looks like around Thanksgiving. So, again, we still have the whole month of November to get to that before we to see how the injuries shake out, who comes back from injuries, see how your team's shaping up around that time of year. So long way to go in there, but honestly, I felt that when the Saints lost Drew Brees, if they could go 500 without Drew Brees in the lineup, they had a chance to be a Super Bowl contender, and they won all their games without him. So good for them, good for the Saints. Yeah, they look pretty good to me.
Yeah, they look good. They look good. I mean, he came back, and I mean, like I said, as soon as he grit the football, it was over with. So Drew Brees came in and only does what Drew Brees does, and that's win, 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 no matter what. And a lot of people was counting them out, man, when they put Teddy Bridgewater in the quarterback. Like, man, they might not be able to do it, man. They might just be a one-trick pony, man. But if you ask me, I just think that that they put it together at the right time. Like normally when the star player like that folds, they just went ahead and came together and been playing phenomenal defense. I mean, they've been doing this without Drew Brees for a long period of time and without Alvin Kamara, who's been hurt as well too. So
Yeah, they just their defense is very talented, and they have weapons on offense. So, like I said, they look balanced to me. They look like they have got it kind of figured out there. And Sean Payton's not a new coach. You know, he's been around the block. So yeah, I like them. But again, I think the Packers are starting. You know, they have a new head coach, but I think the Packers are really they're really shaping up. That's a big win. Even though Mahomes wasn't there, the Chiefs still put some points on the board, and the Packers, to me, that's a nice win to go into Arrowhead on a Sunday night primetime game and come out of there with a win.
that was a good game, man. It was a slugfest for a while, but then that bad man himself.
He's a bad man.
He's a bad man, man. Aaron Rodgers out there making it happen.
I'd like to smash his face in.
Oh,
You know, he's beat Dallas too many times, but I'd like to mash him right in the nose. But he's
you want to mash him in the nose. So what we got here? What we got? Scottie D's match list. We got Garrett Cole.
Yeah, I wanted to punch him last week.
Yeah, he wanted to punch Garrett Cole in the face, and now he wants to just mash Aaron Rodgers in the face. Not punch him, but just
we don't need a
mush him in the
penalty
face
box anymore, Eddie Cole. We need a face punch box.
Yeah,
we just want to punch in the mouth or punch in the nose.
On some just cuz stuff.
Yeah, Garrett Cole and Aaron Rodgers. I just want to punch them. So, anyway, I digress.
Oh, yeah, I digress. There you go. Let me put the train back on the track.
Put it on the track. Let's freight this ship.
All right, so here we go, man. That 49ers and Carolina game, I thought it would have been more, but then now we see, they just blew the doors off of Carolina, man. Carolina were winners of 4 straight, and the 49ers are one of the other undefeated teams alongside the Patriots. Don't sleep on the Niners.
No, and I guess we just did because I was just declaring the Packers and Saints as the 2 best teams, and meanwhile the 49ers are undefeated. So I gotta take that they're for real, huh?
Yeah, you got you, man. They beat a team that was top 10 in pass defense, and you can tell they gave it to them. They gave it to them. They couldn't stop the run. Carolina couldn't do nothing yesterday, but they just couldn't do nothing. So could it be time for Cam Newton to return? Only time will tell.
Well, I tell you, that made it more interesting, didn't it?
Yeah, it really made it more. Yeah,
if they would have won that game, if they would have gone out to San Francisco and won that game, there's no way I think you take Cam or put Cam back in the lineup. But now that the blow softens, and I think he'll be your starter next week.
Yep, because he's been showing up to practice, working out, and he may be almost back. But yeah, tough sledding for the Carolina Panthers. Tough sledding for the Browns as well, too. And we did pick them to go to the playoffs. But from the looks of it, I don't know. But, we still got a whole lot of season left to play. All right, and that's it for the NFL Week 8 recap. Moving right along is Choices of the Voices.
And now, our favorite part of the show, the Choices of the Voices.
Thanks once again to the wonderful Miss Button for introducing the Choices of the Voices. You heard her. It is our favorite part of the show. It's so much our favorite part of the show that we just sit back and just watch the responses on the interwebs. You can check us out at the Facebook like page of the Sports Bros Podcast. That's where a lot of the interaction goes down at. And, we just sit back and watch. And we watch and gather information that we opine on the podcast to hear what you, our listeners, have to say. Shout out to our old listeners and our new listeners. And to the old listeners, go find some new listeners so we can have some more listeners so they can also become a part of the choices of the voices as well, too. Scottie D, what was this week's question?
This week we were kind of touching on it as you and I here a second ago, but we were asking about the midway point of the NFL season. We're about halfway home, and we were just checking in with our listeners to see what do you think were the biggest surprises, biggest disappointments, and MVP of the halfway point of the NFL season. Got some really good responses this week on our Facebook page. So let's get right to it there, Eddie. Cool.
All right, we're going to fall right up in it like a booby trap. All right, here we go. Mike Davis says, the biggest surprise is all the trades so far. The biggest disappointment has been Brown's hype and how bad Baker looks. And his MVP, he says, is Jimmy G. They're just getting it done, and picking up Emmanuel Sanders could be dangerous.
Yeah, great call there. I hadn't even thought of some of these ones that he went with, but the Browns being a disappointment. Yeah, I mean their fans were so hyped coming into this season. Just got a feel for them. They've only got 2 wins, and Jimmy G has man again 49ers undefeated. Can't really go against that call there. Emmanuel Sanders. They just added him at the trade deadline. There did seem to be more trades this year, I think, than usual in the NFL. That's never been like the baseball deadline when there's just trades that go on all day, all week before that. The NFL never was really like that, but there were a few this year, and that's a big one. Getting Sanders over to San Francisco.
Yeah, let's think about San Francisco. I mean, they have depth at wide receiver, but they don't have like a true number one. You know, they have everything else but a true number one at wide receiver. And Sanders being, the acquisition of Sanders could really help the 49ers moving forward because Jimmy G, you have to throw that ball eventually. You're going to have to throw that ball. And that can also open up the run game as well, too. All right, we got a new listener here. Katie, Scott, how's her name go?
That's Katie Capitano Small. That's my boss. She listened.
Okay.
She listened a couple times before. I think she surprised me here. She's a big Patriots mark, and she said Christian McCaffrey for MVP. You got to like that, Eddie Cole.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it because Christian McCaffrey, with the absence of Cam Newton, has put the team on his back. And he was an intricate role of them winning 4 straight. She says Christian McCaffrey for MVP for sure. She said the big surprise, she said maybe the injuries with the quarterbacks and the backups winning the games, i.e. the Saints and the Panthers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing, too. Yeah, these backup quarterbacks coming in and getting it done in most cases. Not all cases.
And you can actually throw Andrew Luck in there, too. You know, it wasn't an injury. It was a retirement. But
yeah, that was another big surprise, too.
Yeah, another team winning with their backup. So, yeah. Nice answer, yeah. Katie Cap. I like it.
Yeah, but I think the Colts are staying afloat, man. They're staying afloat despite no Andrew Luck. No Andrew Luck, no problem, I guess. If you're in Indy, Uncle Max, big surprise. Oh, perfect segue. He said the Colts on top of the AFC South after the retirement of Andrew Luck. That was his biggest surprise of the season, leading into the season, Uncle Max, because the retirement of Andrew Luck did catch us off guard too. Because as we mentioned, they seem to they're still sticking it out, man. You can't count them out quite yet. I mean, they're on top of their division. They're winning games. They're doing what they're supposed to do. 5-2, and in that very tough AFC South because you got the Titans at 4-4 at 500. The Jacksonville also at 500 as well too. And then the second place, the Houston Texans. But the Colts are at top, man. I'm thinking because to be honest with you, people probably thought Colts well, I'm going to be like a 9-17 or 8-8 team or something like that. But
yeah, you're right, Eddie, and I think that that's probably my answer for biggest surprise as well was the Colts because when we were talking back right around the time Andrew Luck retired, I was going to pencil them in as a team to challenge the Patriots for the AFC when Luck was still there. I really thought this team was going to be formidable this year. Just based on Luck's comeback last year and how good the Colts looked, coming down the stretch last year, I thought for sure that with Luck being out, that they going to fold up the tents, but
Mm.
didn't happen that way. You got a Patriots backup quarterback
Yeah.
leading the Colts, and they're looking good, man. I really am surprised by that, to be honest with you.
Just think about it, man. You got Jacoby Brissett and Jimmy G playing some good football right
They
now.
are.
And both are understudies of Tom Brady. Yeah, go figure, right? The Tom Brady tree?
The TB12 effect.
Yeah, the TB12 effect. Eating avocado ice cream and not giving a damn. Uncle Max also added the MVP. He said the New Orleans Saints defense, they are scary good. He says biggest disappointment, the refs throwing more flags than Van Camps has pork and beans.
Nice reference.
I love it. He said, could someone please make them study the rule book? Hey, that's a good one, Uncle Max. They throwing more flags. Van Camps got pork and beans.
The flags have been ridiculous. When I was doing my solo with you guys away a couple weeks ago, I ran it on that both weeks. Man, we've already hit on that. So yeah, I can just rant till I'm blue in the face about those flags being thrown this year. It's just killing the NFL.
Wait a minute, he breathing on them wrong. It's a 15-yard penalty.
Yeah,
come on, man. This is what we resort to now. All right, the big boss man, Bruce Diamond, he said the biggest pleasant surprise, of course, the Buffalo Bills. And he said those Buffalo Bills, they should have beat the Patriots. You know, I'm with him on that. The Bills, they're sitting at 5-2 right now. They lost to the Eagles. But it's another one of those teams, man. They got to it's a classic case of can the offense complement the defense, because Buffalo has been having a top 10 defense for the last few seasons. So once they turn that corner offensively, they'll be fine.
I'm not ready to declare Buffalo a playoff team, but you gotta think you gotta be happy at 5-2 this far into the season. I know they're disappointed this week because of the Philly game on Sunday. They were hoping to win that game, but things at least seem to be going in the right direction for Buffalo.
Trending up.
Pleasant surprise. Yeah, they're trending up.
Yeah, they're trending up. You can definitely say that, man, because you just can't go to New Era Field in Orchard Park, New York, and get an easy win, because the Bills, they're feisty. They'll fight you. They will fight you. Rodney O'Neal Bellamy, Dolphins fan. What's going on, Rodney? He says surprise teams, the Bills and the 49ers. Both are on a roll. Disappointment, the Atlanta Falcons. With all those big-time contracts sitting at 1-6, they're 1-7 now. Let me go check.
Yep, they lost again, and I completely agree with Rodney on that one. That I think that for me also would be the biggest disappointment. The Falcons.
Yeah, sitting at a big contract, sitting at 1-7. His fans, his Dolphins, possibly going 0-16, maybe 1-15. It's not a shock, disappointment, or surprise. They're more like a rental team than an NFL team.
Yeah.
Excited about our picks and cap space moving forward, though. His MVP votes, he says, number 1, Christian McCaffrey. Number 2, Aaron Rodgers. And number 3, Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, good. All good points, Rodney. I especially agree with that Falcons one, because I predicted the Falcons to win that division, and they're 1-7. They're not winning anything this year, except the right to choose a new coach. They may not even let Quinn finish that season. He may end up being gone before the year ends out. But another vote for Christian McCaffrey for MVP there, Eddie Cool.
Yep, so that's 2 of them. All right, and Craig Burns, biggest surprise. Saints winning 5 in a row without Drew Brees, and the Colts a success without Andrew Luck.
Yeah, we already kind of touched on the Saints winning without Brees, that being a surprise and a big part of their season, and the Luck thing we talked about. I just want to welcome Craig Burns. He's a newer listener. Eddie, this guy, him and his family came on vacation a few weeks ago down here to Myrtle Beach, and they were in the Beast Ninja working out and using the obstacle course. His kids were on the obstacle course. He has 2 sons that were very impressive doing the obstacles, and they were just a great, really nice, great family. I was glad to have them, and told him about the Sports Bros podcast. So thank you for listening there, Craig. We have a lot of guys that say, I'm going to check you out, and then they don't, but we appreciate you listening in with us. And he also suffers from being a Patriots fan. So
He suffered.
we got another
Patriotitis.
Patriots fan on board. But and I think you glossed over one here, Eddie. And that was Trey Duke, who likes.
Oh, Trey Duke. What did he?
Yeah, he's disappointed that Jason Garrett and Dak Prescott are still with the Cowboys. You can believe that one. And he also goes with McCaffrey as the MVP. So that's three votes for McCaffrey as MVP on our choices of the voices this week.
Yep, 3 votes for him. Sorry about that, Trey Duke. I was trying to get everything at once, and I promise it was not intentional that I missed you. I promise that was not the purpose whatsoever. So yeah, man, pretty stacked version of the choices of the voices. So I guess I'll go ahead and opine on my picks.
All right.
The biggest surprises, I would say, would have to be the San Francisco 49ers. Mainly because I didn't know exactly what Jimmy G was capable of.
Right.
Because remember, he got hurt midway through the season last year, and Nick Mullins took over, and then, it just was Tank City after that. They wound up getting a Nick Bosa in the draft, and that defense is solid. I mean, scary solid. I mean, if you saw that monsoon fest between them and the Redskins last week, and you can see how dominant it is, and then to see them at home on a good playing surface just dominate the Carolina Panthers. I mean, that NFC West, man, it's going to be pretty tight, man, because you got the Niners, you got the Seahawks, you got the Rams, all 500 teams, and from that prediction I made early in the season about the NFC South pumping up three teams in the playoffs, that distinction may have to go to the NFC West, man. It may have to go to the NFC West because man, those 49ers looking good.
That's a tough division right now.
It is, man. The biggest disappointment, Ronnie opined on it earlier, and you did too, Scott, the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
Losers of 6 straight. They currently sit at the bottom of the NFC South at 1-7. Man, Atlanta's in shambles right now. The Falcons are in shambles. I've never seen them this disheveled in the last 5 to 6 years. I mean, this is almost like Mike Smith era-ish almost. But the Falcons, I mean, you lose your coordinators and everything, and then you got issues on health, and then they're talking about trading Vic Beasley, who a few years ago was leading the league in sacks. And so the Falcons are going through some hard times right now, man. I've never recalled seeing the Falcons be this damn bad.
Yeah, I'm pretty sorry.
Yeah, I haven't recalled them seeing this damn bad. And also another disappointment is the Chicago Bears. I had to put a twofer in there.
Yeah, that's
Chicago
true.
Bears. But we know where their problem lies. That's in that damn quarterback. Mitchell Trubisky. He just ain't it. He just ain't it. I mean, that Bears team is built to have a quarterback for a game manager, and the defense can, pretty much just keep him alive in any situation. But defense wins championships, but you need an offense to score points too. And so they're just not that good, on offense, with all the weapons that they have. But those are my 2 disappointments, man, the Bears and the Falcons. I look for bigger things, man, bigger things for them. In the MVP race, let's see. I would have to say Christian McCaffrey.
What a surprise.
Shocker, what a surprise. and then I would have to say after the recent weeks, Aaron Rodgers, man, because that bad man up there in Green Bay, he's starting to click, starting firing all cylinders. And the past 2 games, he's done a lot without number 1 wide receiver, Devontae Adams. I mean, he's doing it with Valdez Scantling and a few other wide receivers, the names I can't know, I don't know off the top of my head. And then he's getting known as running backs too. I mean, the Packers have a formidable running game with Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams, who can both catch the ball. So, you can't. At 7-1, man, you can't sleep on them doggone Packers, man. So, Chris McCaffrey, Aaron Rodgers, let's see, and I would say I'm not going to do that because I think I was going to say Kirk Cousins, but I'm not going to do that, no. So I'll just say for MVP races, Christian McCaffrey and Aaron Rodgers, because they're both making it happen for their teams. And I think after this week, Aaron Rodgers eclipses Christian McCaffrey as far as MVP consideration. Scottie D, what you got?
Well, first let me ask B-Live. B-Live, who you got? Dabo? Oh, okay. That's who he said Dabo as the MVP. Thank you, B-Live, for your input there. Yeah, I already kind of mentioned the Colts as the biggest surprise, pleasant surprise, and the Saints, the Falcons is probably my biggest disappointment. But I would have to say personally, for me, the money man, my biggest disappointment of the year is the Cowboys losing to the Jets. Oof. That was a bad loss, man. We were rolling. Actually, at that point, they weren't rolling. They were rolling the first 3 games of the season. They lost that tough one to the Saints, lost a close one to the Packers, and thank God the Jets are on the schedule. Get things right, and they go up to New York and lay an egg and lose that one. So that's disappointing, because if you're selling me a bill of goods saying the Cowboys are going to be make a deep playoff run this year, you're going to tell me they're a contender, and then you go and lose to the Jets. That's really disappointing. You can't do that. So I'm disappointed in that performance. But that's Jason Garrett teams that happens. They'll win games that you don't expect and lose games you don't expect, and always end up in the mediocre section. And I got to go with Aaron Rodgers as the MVP. Just like you were saying, dealing with injuries and a new coach, and there the Packers are right there in the middle of contention yet again. I think he's probably the best quarterback out there right now. I still do. Brady still – you could throw Brady in as an MVP candidate, but their defense has been so good this year, it's taken away from his performance. The Patriots' defense is absolutely fantastic this year, and that – kind of detracts a little bit from how good Tom Brady is. Tom Brady's like Michael Jordan, though, where every year you could say he's the MVP and just other people come along and have good seasons. But I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers at this point, and I still want to punch him, but I still think he's probably the best quarterback in the NFL this year anyway.
And there is Scottie D's punchable MVP candidate, Aaron Rodgers, Mr. Rodgers. I watched the game last week and the game last night. I was like, uh-oh, here comes that man. Mama, there goes that man again.
Yeah, yep.
There goes that man again. All right, Scott D, what we got next week for the choices of the voices?
All right, we're going to stick with the NFL. That's always a popular topic, no matter how we pop the NFL. This isn't as current as our topic was this week, but here is the question. Who is the best quarterback wide receiver combination you've ever seen? Now, I know you're all going to jump out. I know Jim Zorn, Steve Largent pops into everybody's mind. I'm going to try to ask you to think a little bit out of the box here. Maybe it's Derek Carr to Hunter Renfrow. Maybe it's Quincy Carter to Joey Galloway. They lit up the Cowboy. They excited the Cowboy fan base in the early 2000s. Quincy Carter, Joey Galloway. There's been a lot of really exciting combinations to watch. Quarterback, throw into a receiver. What's the best that you've ever seen? That's our question for you for next week.
That's going to be a pretty good we expect some good turnout over that, because we know the past few weeks the questions have been kind of so whatever. And
no, this past week was great, man. We're talking current NFL stuff.
No, the weeks past. Yeah. This was good. Weeks past, it's been kind of so, but yeah, we get it back on track with the choice of the voices. Let us know. This is your segment of the show, and it is our favorite portion of the show as well, too. All right, moving right along, we get ready to go home and say goodbye for now, but not forever. 3 things. Pepper time. That's right. 3 topics. Rapid fire style. You know how we do it. We pass the ball around each other and be coordinated enough not to hit each other in the head or drop the ball, unless someone distracts me with food or some water or something. But I digress. All right, my first pepper point is Drew Brees, as he is the first quarterback to reach the 75,000-yard passing milestone. And he did it in emphatic fashion yesterday at home after missing games with a bum thumb. Want to count Drew Brees out? I don't think so. I got 75,000 reasons why not. All right, Scottie D, here's the ball. Catch it.
All right. So while everyone's watching football over the weekend, Tiger Woods won his 82nd PGA tournament in his career, tying Sam Snead. I'm like most of you, probably all of you, didn't really see much of this tournament. I don't even know where they were at. They were in Japan, I believe, and Tiger ended up winning. I didn't see this coming because Tiger Woods he had knee surgery and he hasn't been playing much this year. You know, he had obviously the Masters win, which was forever ago, and for him to come back and win a tournament with a good field. I mean, he finished with 3 strokes over Hideki Matsuyama. Rory McIlroy was up in the top 5. Gary Woodland, who won the U.S. Open, was up there. I mean, this was a good field, and Tiger went out and won, just kind of like old school Tiger Woods. And congratulations to that, because that was history in the making for him to hit that 82nd win. And that I think that's out of reach. I don't think anybody ever gets close to that again, to be honest with you.
Probably not, man. Not this stage in his career.
No, I'm talking about any golfer. There's no golfers out. I mean, to win on the PGA right now is so hard because the talent is so deep out there right now. It's just hard to imagine anybody ever even getting close. That one's out of now. Tiger can win again and have that record all to himself. For now, he's tied with Sam Snead, but yeah, that's out of reach here, bro.
You think it may be unreachable like Joe DiMaggio's 56-game hit streak?
I do. I think it's up there. I think that's there now. Yeah, I do. Over to you, Eddie Cool. What you got, bro?
You know what? Wow. You know, I said, damn, between the Dolphins going undefeated, Joe DiMaggio's hit streak, and then the most PGA wins. Those are like 3 of the.
They're untouchable.
Like what? Yeah, like the Mount Rushmore of untouchable records. And every year somebody tries and somebody fails. All right, my second pepper point goes to All Elite Wrestling. That's right, the other wrestling program that comes on Wednesday nights on TNT, Wednesday Night Dynamite. Sure be nice to get some of that con money from that promotion that promo I just gave you, but I digress. They're a new edgy company, not too edgy, but they're the alternative to the World Wrestling Entertainment. There's a lot of good wrestling going on right now, man, but they start off their show with a hot one in the Tag Team Championship Tournament match between the Private Party and the Lucha Bros. If you have a chance to go see this match, please go out of your way to check out last week's episode of AEW Dynamite between the Lucha Bros and the Private Party. You want to talk about it's safe to say it kind of reminds me of how WCW used to start off with the cruiserweights. Real hot. You get you engaged in the show, get you engaged in the product, and the whole show's great. And that set the tone for the rest of the show. So good job to both teams for participating in a hellified match. Over to you, Scottie D.
All right. From the fake combat to the real combat, we got Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal coming up. It's November 2nd. That's coming up this weekend. The fight was in jeopardy there for a couple days because Nate Diaz evidently had something going on with his testing, his anti-doping testing. As it turns out, he's not going to be subject to any sanctions. And I tell you what, if you look at Nate Diaz, you don't look at a guy who's on steroids. And that's what fired him up so much is the fact that something in his test elevated that made him really angry because he is all of his career made fun of steroid users and proclaimed to be clean. And so he didn't want to be in a situation where after the fight they said he tested positive for something and make him look like he said that's cheating. He didn't want to go through that. So I give this guy a lot of credit. He was going to leave a lot of money on the table just because he didn't want to be in a situation where he was made to look bad in an afterthought. So anyway, Masvidal, he knocked out Ben Askren in what was like 4 seconds earlier this year with a flying
in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, it was over quick, and he's a hot fighter right now, and Nate Diaz is always hot whenever he's out there. So I'm looking forward to that fight so much, and I'm glad it's back on. So that's coming up Saturday night, UFC. Masvidal and Nate Diaz at Madison Square Garden. Over to you, Eddie.
And I heard Masvidal was like, I don't care. I'll still fight him. Masvidal's trying to get that payday. Like,
Well, that's true, and Masvidal has he knows the Diaz brothers, and he knows that that's not what they're about.
yeah.
He truly didn't believe that Nate was doing anything, that he wasn't supposed to be doing as far as taking, bad supplements or banned substances. So he really wanted that fight. I don't know who to pick in that fight, man. You just never know with Nate and what kind of performance you're going to get.
It should be a good one, regardless of the outcome. It should be a good one. My third and final pepper point goes to the rest of the world because they're worried about the Golden State Warriors being 0-2 on the season. Newsflash, the season just is not even a week old. I mean, overreaction, I think it is. I mean, they got trounced by the Oklahoma City Thunder. Correction, let me try this again. The Russell Westbrookless Chris Paul Oklahoma City Thunder. That brings the Thunder to 1-2, and the Warriors are 0-2. I'm gonna tell you what, guys. Tranquilo. Everybody calm down. It's only 2 games into the season. 2 whole games into the season. They got a lot more basketball to play. But I'll be honest with you, man. With the possibility of Klay Thompson not coming back, I don't know, man. It could make it it could really shape the landscape of the Western Conference because, you have Denver's looking good, Portland's looking good, they're scrappy. Utah, you can't forget, Luka and Porzingis down there in Dallas, they're making some noise too. But like I said, it's early in the season. Talk to me after the All-Star break, and then we'll see what we got going on. And over to you, Scottie D.
I predict that the Warriors will finish the season 80-2.
80-2.
Yeah, they'll go on a win streak.
So okay, we got those 2 out of the way. Let's go ahead.
Yeah, they lost their 2 games already. They'll go on. No, that team's in trouble, man. They're gonna have a rough season, I think.
Yeah, they might be in trouble. And, what's this? I'm hearing talks about Boogie might be available for the Lakers. He may be.
I hadn't heard that, but take him if he's healthy.
Yep.
All right. Speaking of taking him, the Cowboys made yet another deadline trade this year. They got Michael Bennett. Michael Bennett came from the Patriots. He's bounced around a little bit now. He was with the Seahawks for the bulk of his career. Had a stint in Philly, stint in New England, and now he's with the Cowboys. His coach from Seattle, one of his coaches was Chris Richard. He's now with Dallas. He's coaching Dallas defensive backs. So he has some familiarity there. His brother Martellus was a Cowboy for a few years, and he kicked some dirt at the organization on his way out the door. Michael Bennett's controversial. He had that whole goofy thing in Vegas that happened a few years ago.
Oh, well, that's right.
Yeah, remember that? It was kind of weird. I'm not a fan of Michael Bennett. I'm not a fan of those guys, the Bennett brothers. I don't really like them. But I tell you what, if he can stop the run and get to the quarterback, that's my dude. All right, Michael Bennett to the Cowboys. Here we go, baby. Super Bowl. We're back.
Oh, boy.
Bring it on.
Oh,
that's
boy.
all I got for you for this week, Eddie Cole.
All right, that's another exciting round of pepper. And we reached the end of the show. We'd like to thank you to our old listeners and our new listeners. Keep on listening. Keep on telling everybody. You can check us out at the Sports Bros pages all across social media from Facebook. We got a social media like page on Facebook, also on Instagram, and also WordPress, Facebook, Twitter. We're everywhere. The Sports Bros Podcast. Scottie D, how can they reach you?
You can catch me right here on the Sports Bros Podcast on our Facebook page. You can catch me on Facebook, Scott Donnelly, Donnelly. And if you're in the Myrtle Beach area, look me up, man. I'm doing trivia at a few different spots here. Wild Wing Cafe on Wednesday nights and Barefoot Landing and Buoys, or as I like to say, Booyahs on Mondays, Monday evenings up on Ocean Boulevard in North Myrtle Beach. So just want to thank everybody for checking us out every week, man. Thanks for listening to us.
Yep, you can check Scottie D out, man. I like Scottie D's whole ever since, Scottie D is a real good pitch, man. Ever since he was doing karaoke at Overtime Sports Cafe. And now he's doing this thing on the trivia thing. And you do a good job, man. Got a good turnout, No one's fighting. No one's beating each other up. And
I appreciate that, and and I got a good thing going on at Beast Ninja. I mean, if you're in the area and you want to do some obstacle course training, man, Beast Ninja's a really cool little gym down there on 501. So I'd love to have you stop by and see me down there.
Run around, burn on some energy, have some fun with Scottie D and Beast Ninja, and then check them out with some good old trivia. And of course, you can reach me, the HOC of the Sports Bros Podcast, on Instagram, Cool Season, all one word. On Snapchat, Super Cool 5000, and also on all of the social media platforms. That is the Sports Bros Podcast. All right.
And if you can catch B live, let us know. We can't catch up with him this week. He's doing his thing.
Yeah, we couldn't find him, but be live. Hope all's good with you. You know, like I said, I understand, when you work, you're tired. Hey, man, it is what it is. It is what it is, and I'm not mad. Because if you work hard, at least rest and take care of yourself. I'm telling you, Scottie, I can't wait to shake this freaking cold. And I apologize to our listeners if I sound a little bit different. I'm battling the cold. But guess what, though? I wasn't going to let some funky little, stinking little, ugly little cold stop me from giving you guys, our listeners, our fans, our La Familia, some good old sports commentary.
Hey, all the good ones play injured from time to time, Eddie. Cool. Good work today, brother.
You know what I'm saying? This like the flu game. You know what I'm saying? Like, a
flu game.
this the flu game. You know, Scottie, you got to kind of hold me up. I'm heavy, but you got to hold me
I hear you, brother.
All right, with that being said, take care of yourself, especially with all these illnesses and craziness going on. Take care of yourself and do something nice for yourself. And if you can, do something nice for someone else. They will greatly appreciate it. This has been another episode of the Sports Bros Podcast. Take care, y'all.
Yes, sir.